Hello and welcome to the Trevor Zoo. This is our second episode of Trevor Zoo Live here at the Trevor Zoo. We're happy to have you with us online and even if we're not in person. I'm Kyleen Depew. I'm the animal care coordinator here at the Trevor Zoo. I came to the Trevor Zoo in 2011 after I graduated from Cornell University with a degree in animal science. So here at the zoo, I coordinate the care of the animals on the daily basis. So I make sure that they're set up with enrichment, that they have proper diets, that they're set up with vet care, that they get all their vaccines, and that they're living their best lives here. And then I also set up for transfer of animals, and I work with the AZA's species survival plans to see what is the best fit for our animals and who we can get here for breeding purposes and stuff like that. So I fill out a lot of surveys. Why don't you guys come inside and I'm going to show you some of my favorite animals here at the Trevor Zoo, which are the Geoffrey's Marmosets and the golden line Tamarins. So this is our infirmary building. This is the inside viewing of it. So in here we house our Geoffrey Marmosets. We have 7 on exhibit here. And we have 2 golden line Tamarin brothers that we house. We also house a golden Tavetta weaver and red-footed tortoises in this building. In the spring and summer, as it starts to get warmer, all of these animals have access to outside, and we actually bring our tortoises outside. And they can all go outside through shift doors. And as it gets a little bit warmer, they've been sneaking out a couple of days a week, but hopefully they'll get more and more time outside as we go. All right, so if you come with me, I'm going to show you some of their diet and how we prepare that. This is the zoo's main kitchen. It's in our infirmary building. We call it our infirmary kitchen. During the school year, we have zooies that help us, which are students that work in the zoo, and there are some that make diets. We have all of our diets laid out on diet cards, and they prep them for us, and they follow that, and then actually on the back, it has a picture that shows what it's supposed to look like, so that they kind of know what they're doing. And then we also have staff that's in here helping them and working with them each day to make these diets.
So what kind of food are we giving these guys?
Yep, so we give them Zupreme marmoset diet. This is their AM diet. It has most of their nutritious stuff in it. And then this is the Missouri primate biscuit. We give them some of those too. For the afternoon, they get a mix of fruit and veggies, and it's a daily schedule. Sundays keeper choice, so we can give them kind of whatever we're feeling that day, but the rest of the days are all laid out so that they don't get burnt out on their favorites or that they don't get too much of their favorites as they go throughout the week and they get a good mix. They get this diet in the afternoon, so we'll actually go and feed them this in a little bit, but it's all set out for them prior to being fed. Over here, they also get some protein items. So these are mealworms. And then hard-boiled egg, those are some of their favorites. They each have their own favorite protein item. And we actually use that each week to weigh them. They'll jump on a scale for us, and we'll give them their favorite item for that. So we monitor their weights pretty closely. We also give them daily enrichment. This afternoon, I'm going to give them some primate crunchies, and I'm going to stick it in these cool little boxes. And then they'll probably go through them and pull them out. So we'll do that.
What are the crunchies made out of, you think, here?
One's peanut butter flavored, and one is chili pepper flavored, actually. They're called Primate O's. All right. So we will bring these out with us and put some in each of the exhibits. I'm going to grab their bowls, and if you want to come with me, we'll go out and feed the animals. Also in this building is our vet clinic, and then we also have some holding spaces. Any animal that comes into the zoo does about 30 days of quarantine and gets a vet visit upon arrival and then before they're mixed into our collection. Hey, Gabby. And then before they're mixed with their collection and their cage mates. So that's how we're gonna go. Okay. So everyone gets pretty excited. They get fed twice a day. They get fed in the afternoon and in the morning. Give the family of 5 an extra one. And we'll go keep them.
Heather asked, do they eat the eggshells?
Sometimes they do eat a little bit of the eggshells, but they don't, they'll mostly leave them on the ground for us to pick up the next day. Some of them only like the yolk, and then some of them only like the whites part of the egg when we hard boil them, so it's a little bit of a split too. We're gonna go into the family of 5 first, which is a family of 5 Geoffrey marmosets. They consist of Melody and Phelps. They're the parents, and they're about 9 years old. And they've bred here at the Trevor Zoo. What? Oh, okay. They bred here at the Trevor Zoo, and they had Jack, their first baby, who's 3 years old, and Peanut Butter and Jelly are their twins that are 2 years old. There's a male and female twin, and we're gonna go in and see them.
I hear a lot of chirping.
Yeah.
So you're gonna close that door and then I'll come in after you get in there, is that?
Yep.
Okay, we can keep talking, we'll hear you fine.
Okay. You guys ready? Come on in. Okay, so this is our family of 5. So marmosets live together in family groups. And as long as they remain as a family group, the dominant adult pair will breed. So Melody and Phelps are a dominant pair. We don't want to keep breeding this group. So they're actually, she is on a birth control implant, similar to a human birth control implant. And so this group will live together as long as they are slated to by the SSP, which is the Geoffrey Marmoset SSP. And that's the species survival plan. I keep using SSP because that's what I'm most used to. And they will live together as a group, hopefully, for a long time because they are quite charismatic.
Yeah, how long have Phelps and Melody been there at the zoo, approximately?
Since 2016, so about 4 years, right before they gave birth to Jack.
And do you know where they came from?
Yes, I do. So Phelps actually came from the Ross Park Zoo up in Binghamton, New York. And then Melody came here from the Brookfield Zoo in Chicago.
And do you think they'll come down and like eat out of your hand? Some of them
We'll
will?
see. You might be a little freaked out with the camera. But we do have some suckers for banana. There, maybe if I leave it up there. So normally they will eat out of our hands, which is a staff only thing. And they will come down to go on the scale also and eat out of our hands. And they each get weighed. They each come down individually and go on the scale. And we do that weekly just to make sure that they're healthy and moving along and that one of them is not getting the most of the food or anyone's getting pushed out of the group.
And the noises they make,
Yeah.
they're communicating with each other, yes.
The
like,
chirps?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they communicate by chirping to each other, and then they also communicate by scent. So they'll scent mark all of their perching, and they scent mark to each other. You'll see sometimes that one will kind of go over and put its tail up and almost pee on the other one. That's them communicating by scent and who's dominant in the group.
Oh, our director, has joined us. Everyone hopefully remembers seeing Alan last week. He's going to help us with the Q&A section this week. So do you know who's who?
I do know
I can
who's
never
who.
tell, but you guys, because you
Yeah.
feed them and you weigh them, like, so who's who? Like, who's this guy up in the corner here?
That's Jelly.
Okay, so jelly and peanut butter,
This is Melody.
that's the mom.
Yep.
there, yeah.
Phelps is in the back.
Dad is in the back, and he's kind of smaller than some of the rest of them.
Yep. And then Jack is right here.
Jack is this guy right there?
Yeah.
Okay, and where's peanut butter?
Peanut butter's right there.
Right here. Now, peanut butter was a little bit overweight, wasn't he?
Peanut butter's
Is he
still
still
a little bit
overweight?
overweight. Yep. Yep. So we do adjust the diet sheets quite a bit with our vet, and after we talk to each other, and with close monitoring of their weight, we can actually adjust that as they need.
I mean, while we're here, there is a question about, if we could talk a little bit about their long tails.
Their long tails.
Do you use them for balance or?
Yeah, so they do use them for balance to move around. You'll see that they jump pretty far, and that they use it to grab onto things. They have specialized nails too to help them grab onto things, and then actually to bore into perching. So outside, you'll notice that some of the perching is bored into. They'll do that to search for insects, and they do a fair amount of foraging and grooming each other. You guys can eat. It's fine.
The camera's definitely excitement for them.
Yeah, I'm surprised no one's come down to look into
Yeah,
it.
sometimes they do grab my cameras when I go in spaces with them, which is kind of cool.
Oh,
I'll put my phone in selfie mode sometimes, and they
yeah.
will think there's another marmoset here. So
Yep.
tell us about the different kinds of enrichment that we give these guys.
So we give them enrichment to elicit behaviors that are found naturally in the wild. So foraging, exploring, sensory, and then olfactory. We'll also do scent enrichment with them. So we just try and stimulate as many natural behaviors as we can. So them working as a group, them looking through things. It may look silly because it's coming out of a box, but in the wild that could be them looking into like a small crevice to find stuff to eat. Yeah.
And it has to be how warm before they can go outside?
On a really sunny day, we can let them out around 50 degrees, but it has to be 55 degrees and maintainable to keep them out for a long period of time because they are tiny animals and they are cold sensitive.
So they can get a cold.
Yep, because they're found in Brazil. They're found in the forest in Brazil on the eastern coast. There's a fairly small section. These guys are near threatened. We have some.
So they're not endangered.
They're not endangered currently.
But they do have some issues.
Yep, so they suffer from habitat loss.
Oh, let's say hello to Robin Hero is watching,
Oh,
our
nice.
former colleague. And I think I saw Brooke Tahoney was on there too.
Oh, cool.
Was one of our summer interns.
Peter Ryan and Sybil Fenwick.
So these are our two Golden Line Tamarin brothers. They are a little freaked out by the camera setting. This is Tupi and Vasco. Tupi is a lighter color than Vasco. They are twin brothers from Ogleby, West Virginia is where we got them at the Ogleby Zoo. And they came here in 2017, sorry. And we will let them get to their food. They eat the same components as the Geoffrey marmosets. They are a critically endangered species. They are also found in Brazil. All right, we'll let them go and eat it.
Yeah, they're definitely excited by the camera.
So they should come down and check out these boxes pretty quickly. They're pretty excited by enrichment. And definitely by the camera a little bit more than that. So in the 1970s, the Golden Line Tamarin was almost extinct. But they are a great conservation story because there were about 200 left in the wild. And thanks to conservation efforts made by AZA zoos and other conservation teams, there are about 3,000 now. in the wild, and many of them, about a third of the population, can trace back their roots to animals that were born in zoos. Definitely a beautiful species. Very loud. That's how they talk about out in the wild, too. So they also have an outside exhibit, and in the summer we actually do a keeper talk with these guys, where if you come to the zoo, we'll talk about these guys in specifically, and then golden lion tamarins in general. Hi. So this is Hogan and Pepper. Hogan and Pepper are Geoffrey Marmosets. Hogan's about to turn 10, which is starting to be on the older end for a Geoffrey Marmoset. And Pepper's 3. She was born at Disney's Animal Kingdom and came to us this year. And then Hogan was born, I forgot where he was born. But he also came to us from being a, no, she was born at Disney. He was born at Phoenix.
Oh, right.
So he came to us. They are a breeding pair. They're recommended to breed with each other. So we're hoping for some offspring pretty soon. So monitoring their weights pretty closely also helps us tell if she could be pregnant. No signs yet, but we're hopeful. We've had obviously a lot of breeding marmosets here before. They go outside as well when it's warm out. And yeah. So any of those recommendations for any of their animals to breed come from the AZA's SSP, which is the Species Survival Plan. There's actually a coordinator in any AZA zoo that looks at the population genetics and looks at the population size and how many people can house them. So from those surveys that I fill out, and then they give you a recommendation, so a breeding rec, and they tell you if you're recommended to breed, if you're not recommended to breed, if you're recommended to move an animal to a different facility for breeding there, and they kind of guide you on how to manage the population. Okay. All right, so I think we are going to move back into the kitchen for some Q&A.
Yep. No, let's go there. We'll have better audio. Okay, so Alan, do we have any questions? I think there was a question about the different species of marmosets and if ours are all the same, and what different ones we've had.
So right now we have Geoffrey Marmosets. They're all the same species. There's just two different family groups, so two different dominant breeding pairs. So Hogan and Pepper are a breeding pair, and they'll become the dominant in their group. And then Melody and Phelps are the dominant in their group, and they're a breeding pair. So they can't be housed together as a unit, but they can be housed together as two separate family units, and that's territorial reasons. And then the golden lion tamarins are a species together. In the past, we have housed, I believe, pygmy marmosets.
We've had pygmy marmosets. There's
common marmosets we've had.
correct. The marmosets and the tamarins are both in the family of Callitrichidae, and there are a number of small primates in that family. They all exhibit similar lifestyles. And they're all quite different. These are two species that work very well for us here at the zoo in that they're rather gregarious, and they seem quite adaptable to our spaces.
And they're all considered New World primates, which means that they're found in South America.
So Callitrichid is a New World primate.
Yes.
And will we have any indication if Pepper is pregnant, or will she just give birth?
We do. We see a little bit of a weight gain, and then a little bit of a weight decrease right before she gives birth. If she's typical like our other females have been, we've actually been able to monitor, I believe we've had 4 different births here. So we've measured their weights pretty much up until, and then we've seen a little decrease, and then about 3 days later we see a baby. So If she keeps that pattern, we could be able to tell, but again, it's pretty tricky sometimes.
So the frequent weighing is
Helpful.
very helpful on a
Yeah.
number of levels, yeah. Megan Barrett is watching. Hi, Megan.
Hey, Megan.
Hope everything's good out there in Wyoming. When the weather's better, do these guys they come in at night still, or they can be outside at night?
Most nights they actually come in. Those little nest boxes that you saw up on the wall, they'll actually all tuck into one, in their family groups, they'll tuck into one nest box as a family unit and kind of bed down for the night in there.
Laura Perkins is wondering how many babies they have.
So we have, I would say, 3 juveniles right now. So we have 2-year-old twins, and then Jack, I would say, is a juvenile at 3 years old. They're all of breeding age, so I'd say young adult juvenile, but we don't have any babies right now. When they have babies, they typically have 1 to 3, twins being the most common.
And 3 being really tough for mom.
Yeah, 3 being really tough.
And when they are born, who really takes care of them? Is it shared, or does the mom do more, the dad do more?
So the mom will obviously nurse them and feed them, but actually dad and mom both carry them on their backs. A lot of the times when we find the babies in the morning, they'll actually already be on dad's back for the first time.
And is it similar with tamarins as well?
Yeah.
Tamarins, marmosets, same thing, the same kind of
Same kind of
rearing behavior.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, my Aunt Eva is watching.
Rebecca Place is watching.
Nice.
So Margot had a question. What's their favorite food, and do they have a diverse diet?
They do have favorite food. They each have like kind of individual favorite foods. Those protein items that I showed you before, so hard-boiled egg, mealworms, and then we actually have something called marmoset jelly. It's like a little cube of, a flavored cube of protein. And we'll use those to actually weigh them, and we weigh them using their preference. So even in that family of 5, there are 3 different preferences. So we'll give them each their favorite when they come down to the scale for it. And then there's a daily rotation of these so that they don't get burnt out on any particular item. And then we also feed them a variety of afternoon fruits and veggies. So, and then Sunday's Keeper's Choice. So sometimes we have melons or something like that, or strawberries are a big hit. Grapes.
Today's banana day.
Yeah, today is banana day.
Kyleen, there was a question early on before we had the broadcast interruption signal loss of whether they actually eat the eggshells or just the egg.
So they eat mostly the egg. I'm sure that they have ingested the eggshell, but they'll mostly leave those like on the ground for us.
I like it when we get to the summertime and we can throw crickets and things like that on the ground, and they'll forage around in the grass in the exhibit. We can do that inside, but it's just that much more stimulating outside, along with all the other natural insects that are out there.
And they've just recently discovered Dubia roaches, the little guys. We can give them those too, but we give those kind of in a small amount to them in like forage bins. Augie
Greenwood, very exciting to have him on. He's 4 years old, and he's wondering if they have best friends.
Hey, Augie. So they have their mates. So Hogan and Pepper are probably best friends right now. They curl up together. We'll often see them sitting next to each other. I think Tupi and Vasco, who are twin brothers, are probably best friends. And then in the family group, I think all the little ones are kind of best friends, and then Melody and Phelps are kind of mostly seen together.
You talked about it earlier, but we often can't mix groups together because then they're not best friends.
Yeah.
So if 2 males who have their own families and own territories see each other, they can often get into some pretty serious fights.
Yeah.
So you have to keep those families separate. In the wild, of course, they would stay separate by saying, this is my space, this is my territory, everybody else stay out. And they pretty much follow those guidelines unless they get into a battle, and then somebody's going to win and somebody's going to lose. Probably the hallmark of these animals when people come to visit the zoo is their strong smell. and people often say ooh and go running out of the building with their fingers over their nose. That's actually their very natural smell, and it's how they communicate that territoriality. There's a lot of information going back and forth between them in those smells, and to them, it's just information smell. It's not a good or bad smell. It's more like information, and that's a constant challenge for us to keep the building smelling nice and lovely for humans when they're busy trying to communicate with each other.
Oh, Nance Denning just tuned in. Nance, we're talking about marmosets and tamarins, and there's another question about their food from Heather Mueller, who asks, do you make the food there, or do you buy it like we do for at-home pets?
Okay, so we do buy it. The Zoopreme comes from a company called Zoopreme. They make a primate diet, they make a feline diet, and then they also make a marmoset diet. And then we also shop through a company called Missouri, which is exotic animal feeds. They mostly sell to zoos and aquariums, and that's where we get the biscuit from. Most of our animal diets come from there. And then any of the produce or the hard-boiled egg, we will get through Airmark. So we order our produce just like a human company would deliver to they actually deliver to the school's dining hall, and we place our order with that, and we'll get our produce that way. The mealworms, we actually keep a live culture here of mealworms, crickets, and mice, and we use those for feeding some of our animals as well.
And we do grow bamboo for the pandas.
And we grow bamboo for the pandas, yeah.
I think we could wrap it up by you taking this phone, since our other camera had crapped out, and go in there with maybe some treats, maybe some mealworms or something, and see if you can, get close to whoever you think would be the best.
Okay.
So.
Sounds good. Do I need to?
Yeah. You can just. The door.
I'm doing cameraman duties too.
Because they're more used to you than they are to me.
Yeah. Sorry about the jumbling. All right, we'll see if we can get anyone from the family of 5 to come down. These guys definitely love a good treat. No one likes hard-boiled egg right now. Phelps looks like he would come over, but he's already got food in his mouth. Let's see. You want that? Yeah, there we go. See if anyone else wants one now that someone got something. Yeah, there you go. So they do have little hands, much like humans. And they'll grab onto your hands to kind of grab their favorites. Yeah, see, hard-boiled egg is not a favorite there. But I have a couple more mealworms. You want to come down? Come on down. Phelps, you want to come over? Yeah, there we go. And we got one taker over here. There we go. Now they're all getting into it. Well, thank you for coming to Trevor Zoo Live, and we hope to see you here next week at 4 o'clock. We have another episode, and keep posted on our Facebook and Instagram. We have various pictures of the animals coming to you each day, and we will talk to you soon. Thank you.